I'm working on a project, so it's the logo design. I'll spend like half a day on one design and like trying to get it right. I'm like, no, and it's not right, tweaking it, overthinking it. I've done about 15 different versions of it where text is just one pixel to the left or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like I'll have a random thought and I'll just whip something together, like a logo together. It'll take me 30 seconds. And then that's the best one. That's the one that they pick, or that's the one that, the client will like, or...
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jesse Nyberg podcast. Today we have on louismoss here. You know him from YouTube probably, or his page City Soda Club on Instagram. And how you doing, man?
How's it going? Yeah, not too bad. And pretty excited to be on, to be honest. I was saying to you a minute ago, you've had some big names on here, and now you've got old louismoss on here, so even bigger.
Yeah, I mean, you got you're part of the big names. Like you're one of the actually. Everyone's kind of in this little Instagram design community and stuff. So you're actually one of the people where a lot of people I know and are following me are like, oh shit, like you're going to have them on. Like that's tight. So you got quite a little cult following yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a bit mad to think that, because it doesn't seem like it, because you're not seeing people in real life, are you? So like just seeing people on the other side of a screen, like followers and stuff, is a number. You don't really think of them as actual being like physical people that know. Yeah. I don't know, especially doing like the whole YouTube side, you're putting yourself out there a little bit and you don't realise that people are actually watching you.
Yeah,
even
it's
full time. But
what's it called? Like a parasocial relationship or whatever they call it. Like it's like your friends, but it's still like they're not just connected to like the Louis like yourself. They're like they know the Louis like online persona, even if you act mostly the same, it's a different person. Like I don't know, I always say like to some people, I don't think a lot of people would like me like if they just hung out with me like on a normal basis, because I'm a lot more I don't know, quick to get like aggravated at shit and stuff. Online you got to keep everything a lot cooler.
I'm definitely a lot calmer online, I think. I'm still trying to get a bit more. It's hard when you're online to get your actual personality across. It takes a bit of time to really sort of warm up to the camera. Like, I've done a few videos now, but I'm still kind of a bit reserved and nervous in front of a camera. I think if people met me in real life, they'd probably just find me a bit annoying and loud. But, no, it's all good.
Yeah, it's weird getting ready like online. I've talked with, I have a guy, Vince, my homie. He mostly just edits the podcast now, but he was editing a lot of my early videos, and he would tell me things like, yo, like, I know you, like, you're a lot cooler and more interesting than the way you're acting just like a guy teaching someone something. Like, let some of that shit show through. Like, I hang out with you for a reason. Like, you're cool. Like, you're funny. Yeah. He's like, you're acting like boring, because I was just like, all right, hello everybody. Like today, it's so hard to like, and you think you're acting normal in your head. It's not like you're in there like, oh, I'm weird as fuck. But it's kind of hard sometimes.
Nah, it's a skill, especially if you've never done any like public speaking or like even not acting, but like presenting. I guess like as soon as you go in front of a camera, like there isn't a person there to like bounce off. So sitting down in front of a camera, like it is really hard to be yourself and show that personality when you're not really bouncing off another person. So it's definitely a skill that you guess it just grows with you over time and learn as you sort of go along.
I mean, you've obviously though like figured some things out. Like you're one of the names that even though you only have maybe like 12 or whatever videos, like you're still one of the names that gets thrown around quite often. I see like in comments and things when someone will ask like, is there any design YouTube people like, and you have those like the ink bleed video, I think, and the chrome type one, like those ones just like went nuts, it has like so many views.
Yeah, they went quite mad really. Like when you think of like people doing YouTube and stuff, like I was expecting it to take a long time. It's still obviously taking a long time, but I mean like before you get those big videos, the big numbers and things like that. My first video, thankfully, like banged online and got quite a few views on it. So kind of built on from there. I mean, it's all downhill from that first one, to be honest. But from there, like it was pretty good. It kind of worked out in the first one, even though it was like really terrible quality, audio, visual, everything. In some dark, dingy room in my last flat, it wasn't really working. I'd love to go back and redo it, but I'm still pretty new to it, pretty fresh. I'm very slack with doing videos. I haven't got a lot considering I've kind of started lockdown last year. So it's definitely something I'm working on this year a lot more.
Yeah, and it's like it just shows that I fucking hyper analyze all my audio and video, and like I try to make everything perfect, but it shows like at the end of the day it's really about the content. You know, your first video, you said it had like the worst production, but it blew up. And you know, like, you know, Duran Studio, he has some tutorials with like 200k views, and like he's recording off like a laptop in a room with no lights on.
Like I mean, it's about the content, I guess. But yeah, definitely I've tried to improve over time, but I kind of forced myself to do it really, because something I was chatting with my housemate who I used to live with, and it's just one of those things that if you don't, I've kind of already said I was going to like start it and do it, and I've wanted to do it for years, and even since uni I was like, oh, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and talk about design. And you know, I started uni like 7 years ago. It's taken 6 years to like actually do it, and I filmed videos like years ago, put them up and just deleted them, or like filmed them and just, you know, put them on private, and just never had, you know, been a bit scared to sort of publish them or like put them on, you know, put them up for everyone to see. And then last year I just thought, you know what, Corona's roll around, you know, might as well just go for it. Life's too short. Yeah.
That's what mine was.
Who really cares? Just like go for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And so you were, I'm sure you didn't really like anticipate that those like few ones were gonna go like that big right away, huh? You were expecting like to be a slow grind kind of?
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a proper slow grind, like, because I watch a lot of YouTube and follow like various YouTubers and stuff, and I know like I feel like I understand the process as a long grind to get in there, and I've still got a very, very, very long way to go before it's even like anything significant. But yeah, I was definitely expecting like, you know, first 10 videos to just be like 1 view, like no views, like but luckily the first one kind of banged. But I don't know if it would have done that organically if it wasn't for me pushing it through other platforms and things like that. So I guess that's sort of something else that I've built up over time, various platforms where design-based platforms where I've kind of been able to then push out design-related content and still get a bit more traction. And then sort of the way you push it out on various platforms online. I know that video, like I exported a load of Chrome exports and just put them all up on Pinterest, and that banged on there. That's got like hundreds of thousands of views on Pinterest with the link that goes through to the YouTube. So I'm guessing it's like that's where it like kind of got the ball rolling, was from there. So I guess it's just about pushing it out in as many different places as possible and kind of drawing it back to the YouTube, which has kind of worked out pretty well for me.
So you just created a pin of like the video, basically, the Chrome one?
Yeah, just the exports that I did on that I created from the video, just put it on Pinterest. It's a completely underrated platform, I think, because I always use it for like mood boarding and, you know, inspiration for any project I'm doing, whether that's freelance or, you know, at work. We're always putting together Pinterest boards. Never made a pin before, never even really did my account or anything like that, and then put one on there, and next thing I know, it's got like 300,000 views and saves and whatever. It's like, I didn't even know that's how it happens. I didn't even know that you could do that on there. So
that's a good idea. Maybe I should start putting some pins up, because I could use that, a couple 100,000 views. Because I mean, it's been going for me like how I feel like you thought it would be, you know, like it's been, the growth has been in my, like, luckily for me, it's not been like, it's been up. It's just not been like a crazy fucking spike from some random thing like that. It's just been kind of more like a slow burn, gradual, going up and up like that.
Definitely like picking up, especially your Instagram, I've seen is like getting bigger and bigger, and I feel like people are then getting in that circle and it's growing, and then that will push through all the other channels, and that's sort of how it grows.
It's funny because you see like people don't look at, like, when people start noticing you, they don't see like the other shit. Like I've had a couple people tell me like, damn mate, like you've been blowing up on Instagram like out of nowhere. And I'm just like, what do you mean out of nowhere, bro? Like I've been on here for like fucking 10 years. It's not like it's like out of nowhere. It just happened to be happening now. Like if you look back, like, you know, it took me probably whatever, like however long I had Instagram up to like a year or two ago to get 1,000 followers. And then it only took like another couple, like 3 or 4 months to get like the next to like 5K, which is pretty nuts. Like everything online is so like exponential, you know. Once you get bigger, it's easier to get it like even bigger and bigger, because it's like compound interest or something.
Definitely. definitely takes a bit of time. But like even like my Instagram, like you were saying, like yeah, I've had it for like however many years. I've had about 10 different account names. I've posted so much different stuff over the years, like uni work. Then it was like only film photography, and then it was, you know, then I was just like kind of doing like random blogging of like just pictures in the street, and then I wiped it, started again, and it's just it's definitely a lot more work goes into some things that people think that it's just blown up in a short period of time, but really there's been some other stuff in the background happening. I don't know. It's all about timing as well. Like sometimes right place, right time. You just get bigger over, you know, something can blow up overnight, or it's just luck of the draw, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and now that you have your new like kind of setup we were talking about, do you plan on like getting a little more like strict with like how much shit you're putting out on YouTube and stuff like that?
Yeah, big time. Yeah. So I got a new setup literally today. This hopefully people watching this now will see it on my lovely new camera. Hopefully it's not all corrupt and broken. But yeah, definitely I'm a bit rubbish with the old like getting the YouTube videos up and freelance and things like that, or you know, social media and stuff like that, because I've been focusing a lot on like working like my job and then like freelance, just trying to like get by, and then sometimes I'm just not feeling like it, and it's a bit of a rubbish way of looking at it, but I've kind of been really slack at it. So this year I'm kind of paring off any additional freelance and things like that, and just fully sending for the YouTube and things like that. So hopefully this year you'll see a lot better content and a lot more like I've got like planned a lot of videos that like, take a lot more time to make, and rather than like a quick, you know, tutorial and things like that, like I want to make like actual proper interesting design videos like from start to finish, where you see a whole process of me developing a brand or, you know, design from there. So yeah, definitely see more hopefully from me this year. You say that now, hopefully I do actually appreciate it.
Now that you're talking about it on here, you're gonna have to
now everyone can shout at me and give me some shit if I don't upload on a regular basis. But a lot planned for this year. So
I'm stoked to see it. What I've been doing is just you know, like for a while, once I started my normal videos, then I started the podcast. I was thinking like, okay, I'll release a podcast one week, video the next week. And then I was like, holy shit, if I don't do the podcast every week, like these things just get way too backlogged. And like one of them came out like a month or two after I recorded it. And I was like, this feels weird because we're talking about like the beginning of COVID and it's already like fucking June or whatever. So then I started doing both every week. And then I was like, I cannot do a video and a podcast every week. Like I'm gonna go mad. So now I've just been saying my new rule is like, no matter what, put out the podcast every week, but then try to do a video like maybe every 2 weeks or like whenever I can. That way, at least there's something on there and I'm not like completely just like fucking off and like doing whatever. But it's hard to stay disciplined, like you're saying, for sure.
Very hard. As if you're banging out a podcast a week. That's fair play. That's a decent grind. I feel like it's quite a lot of work. Putting together videos, especially like editing videos, I didn't realise it is quite a time-consuming task. Yeah. So, you know, getting one up every week is fair play. I don't know how these YouTubers and everyone are doing them like daily. I guess if you've got editors and things like that, but yeah.
I know.
Like maybe I'm just a bit slack. I feel like maybe that's just what it is. I'm just a bit.
I feel like editing is like it's underrated too. Like it's not underrated. Like I guess maybe overlooked. Like even if you don't do like wild like edits where it's like cinematography and shit. Like even just fixing up the normal stuff takes a lot of time, and like cutting where like all the mistakes are. And like my thing I always like spend a lot of time on is trying to edit like the audio, making sure it sounds good. Cause like the worst thing you could have is like bad audio. People are going to go off the video right away.
People, I noticed that from like my first video. I was like using like a shotgun mic that was like other side of that room, like on the camera, because the lens was like so cropped in. So I was talking, there was a lot of echo. I didn't even think anything of it. And then the comments were like, yeah, you need a better mic. I was like, yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this without a better mic. So went and bought this. So hopefully it's better. But even so, like I still don't really edit the audio too much, and you know, I'm not doing any like color grading or anything like that. So I really need to improve. It's a bit of a learning process. So yeah, I definitely need to get better over time.
It's always good to get stuff, you know, like the best you can, like in the raw. That way you don't have to like go in there and fucking just straight up like, because I've had some where I have like this mini fridge on and the whole time it's like dee, and there's like a little ring and I'm like,
yeah.
this is gonna suck so bad to try to figure out. And like trying to find like noises and hums and stuff, like you could go around your room for days like searching for like weird little noises and shit.
Man, like I've had to borrow this as well. I've got a new chair recently, and this is my housemate's chair. I had to borrow because my chair is so squeaky. So I'll be filming something, and every time I move, it's like squeaking about. And then I'm going through the audio, and I'm like, got to cut that out. And then I'm cutting out portions because my chair's like squeaking about the place.
Because you're leaning back or whatever.
Yeah, like just leaning back and cutting loads of stuff up. But it's all good. It's all a learning curve. You got to do it. That's the thing. Like I feel like you just got to go do it, learn as you go along. You get better over time. That's it. I feel like if you try and plan everything too much and try to perfect it before doing it, just never get it done. Like I know so many things I've wanted to do that I've just like overthinking. I'm like, well, it's going to be this, and it's actually no. It's only going to be perfect if I do it this way and like this, and it has to be right. And then I end up never doing it. It never happens. So I'd rather just do it and then learn on the job than leave it and not
on
ever
a
do
podcast I did with this dude, Visual Timmy, he said something that I thought was like pretty like profound and simple. He just said done's better than perfect, you know? So it's like at the end of the day, if you spend your whole life working on one thing and you never release it, by the time you do, no one's going to care because you didn't release all this stuff in the meantime.
You're never done either. Never done. A bit of work is never done. I've never looked at a bit of work and I'm like, yeah, cool, that's fine. Like I'll leave it there. Like that's done now. It's just however much time you have to put into it. Really, you can always be better. You can always spend more time on it, and then the longer time you spend on it, you start overthinking it and you suddenly had a new idea and you're just redoing it again and again. You'd never get anything done if you wanted it to be perfect. Nothing would ever
It's
go
weird
out.
because like the internet is almost like inherently like the opposite of like how we're supposed to be as designers, like look into something and like very perfect and everything said like everything has a methodology behind it. But then the internet is like, who cares if it's done? Like throw up the process, like throw up when it's halfway done, like just do it real quick. And then you realize that by like putting stuff out online or putting out videos or designs, the ones that are like simple and you don't put a lot into work into usually like do the best in like the algorithm.
Oh,
so
man.
it's kind of weird.
All the time. And you get that with work as well. Like I know, when I'm working on a project, so it's the logo design, I'll spend like half a day on one design. I'm like trying to get it right. I'm like, no. And it's not right. Tweaking it, overthinking it. I've done about 15 different versions of it where text is just one pixel to the left or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like I'll have a random thought and I'll just whip something together, like a logo together. It'll take me 30 seconds. And then that's the best one. That's the one that they pick, or that's the one that, the client will like, or that would be my favorite. And I've done that one in
how it goes.
a matter of seconds. And the other one has been it's so much work. So I feel like you need to, sometimes you can't force things. You've just got to, if something ain't working, you just got to leave it and come back to it.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at that. I feel like I'm always just like obsessed over one thing. And if it ain't working, I just need to start leaving it there and just come back to it later or try something else.
You make it worse half the time, and then it's like...
Yeah, 100%.
I did a project recently. It's still in the process of it, so I can't like talk about it too much, but I pitched like 4 logo designs. I think I was only going to do 3. I spent a lot of time on like the first and second one. The third one, kind of a lot of time, but it was like one of my kind of go-tos. Like, let's just throw this in there because it's like a nice little type lockup that I think would work. And then I was like, oh shit, let's just throw in this 4th one. And I just did it like in a matter of 5 minutes or whatever, like you were saying. And then the guy was like, I like them all, but man, that 4th one, like, I think that's it. And I was like, what the fuck? I wasn't even going to put this in here. It was literally like, I don't know, the most simple. And it's weird because sometimes you have to go all the way to the edge of the earth in like complexity. And then all of a sudden you strip it back and you're like, this is just a sans serif, like lowercase at this point. And it's like the one they want,
You just go the whole way to the end, have a little breakdown and just be like, what am I doing? And just be like, look, I'm just going to make this 5 seconds, whatever, get it done. And then you're like, oh, actually, that's all it needed the whole time. Was just that. But I guess the part of the process is getting to the end and then kind of going back, like working through everything and then sort of standing back and being like, actually, no, what do I know about design? What is, simplicity is key, whatever. You just go back to your roots, don't overthink it. And then that's always the best way. But I'll do that every time. Yeah.
What do you got there, Peroni?
got a little Peroni. Got a little Peroni out of the fridge.
I got you inspired me. I don't have any limes though, but I put the gin and tonic in here. But
I've got a little tin of gin and tonic over here, a little pre-mix one I've got left over in the fridge. It's Saturday night here, so is it yours Saturday? A few hours behind.
No, it's fucking like 12. It's like 1 p.m. So you kind of got me caught me off guard when you were like,
oh yeah.
I remember you were the first person to ask me when we were messaging. You were like, hey, like let's have a drink, and I was like, all right, it's gonna be 12, but fuck it.
Oh no, 12, perfect time, mate. Day session, like you've got to start now. Saturday night, I thought, why not? We crack open a little beer, do a little podcast.
You gonna do anything else like throughout the day or the night? I mean,
tonight, no. I've been working all day today. I'm probably gonna chill for the rest of the night and then do a bit of work tomorrow. Do a bit of filming, hopefully, and then do some freelance, and then back to work Monday. So fun times.
That's how it goes. Yeah. What kind of stuff have you been working on outside of, YouTube and like running the City Soda Club and stuff like that?
So 9 to 5, like I work agency, for a sort of marketing agency. So we're working on various clients day to day, Barclays, Netflix, people like that. We just finished a project with Sky and WWF. Which was a huge project with loads of deliverables, and it's just been like a full-on week of like export V2 final underscore like last minute deadlines, everything's. But yeah, it's all done really well. So everyone smashed it. But yeah, day to day working agency, so different things all the time. A lot of animations, social animations, and sort of marketing material and promotional material out on various social media platforms, and comms for a load of brands. So whether that's signage or, putting together decks or, things like that, some print materials, things like that. So yeah, it's different all the time. There's a lot of change, which is good. So yeah, that's what I do day to day. And then freelance, I've been working on a few different projects. I just picked up a pretty big t-shirt branding, t-shirt design project.
Nice.
For an American company. But yeah, it's early doors at the moment, so that's a pretty big project. But luckily I've had quite a lot of freelance.
Oh yeah. And I remember me and you were talking about it one time when we were messaging on Instagram about how it's hard to keep up with like social media and all this and like posting every day. And we were like trying to figure out like how the fuck are these people doing this shit? But then we kind of came to the conclusion that like for a lot of these younger designers and people online, like posting online and things like that is like their full-time kind of situation, like whether they're making money from it or they're working like a less strenuous job. But when I was talking to you, like I recently went freelance, but when I was talking to you, we were both working like 50 hours or whatever, 60 hours a week, and then doing the freelance on the weekend and trying to put shit out online. And we were just like, damn, this is like not going to be sustainable at all. No,
I feel like, how have you been getting on with freelancing? So you've gone there recently. How are you finding the change?
Yeah, I like it, and it's kind of hard to say because like the sample size is so short. I've been pretty fortunate to where like literally the day I put my 2 weeks in, I got like a big branding project that pretty much pays like what I get paid a month at the job. So I was like, wow, well, that's fucking May at least, or whatever. Yeah. And then I have a couple other clients that like they're not as like interesting, but they're kind of the like things that may come in like every month that'll kind of pay like a portion of all my expenses, which is cool. But I'm sure there's gonna be like, you talk to me in like October or whatever, I'm sure I'm gonna be like, fuck man, like this month this is a hard month or whatever. Like you never know. But I've been doing a lot every day. I've been trying to basically work as much as I was, but just not after hours. Like I've just been still like kind of 9 to 5. Even if like I have a free time, I'll just be like, all right, let's just whip something up for IG or whatever, right? And I've found that even doing all that without the job feels like a full-time thing. So I'm just like, I don't know how I was doing this. Like it wasn't gonna last very long. I don't think how I was doing things before.
You do find that you all get burnt out pretty quickly, and I feel like it's getting to that point now where I'm like, actually, like I need to slow down a little bit on the work front and kind of enjoy enjoy my life a little bit. And also I feel like I try and spin, don't know if it's the same for you, but try and spin too many plates at once. And I find that not one thing gets my full attention at a time, because I'm trying to do a million and one things at one time. Exactly. I'm doing this, doing that. And then one thing, just nothing really gets the full attention. So this year, it's definitely time to put like full attention on one thing and try not to just try and do everything, which is easy to fall into, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Especially, it goes as far as like any project you do, you want to be best at, or you want to learn every part of the project, whether that's like 3D or, you know, you want to be able to do everything. And in the end, you never really like solely think about one area. Yeah. Yeah.
And then when all these new things emerge, you know, like whether it be you want to get on YouTube, you want to get it, let's say there's like a new social app, you know, people are making 3D everywhere, all these designers, you got people making NFTs, like all this shit's like happening. Yeah. And you just like, you're like, I want some of that, you know, like I want to get into that. But then you're like, I'm already doing 5 things. I can't do 5 more. And you get stressed out.
Yeah. And then you feel like you're kind of left behind if you don't do it. But then if you do start doing it, you feel like you leave everything else behind. And it's just, it's a bit of a nightmare, really. It's one of those things where you get a bit of FOMO, and then you also get a little bit, you think you're not good enough if you then not, you know, my TikTok's out now. I've got to be banging TikToks up every week. And then you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. You're like, oh, I'm missing out. Oh, I'm falling off. Like, you know, it's not, oh, I'm never going to be anything now because I'm not doing TikToks every week, or, do you know what I mean? Like you fall into that trap where you feel like you have to do everything. It's like, oh, these people are posting whatever, you know, post designs every day. You're like, oh, I'm not doing it every day. How are they doing it every day? Now I'm nothing if I'm not doing it every day. But it's so easy to fall into that trap, but it's fine.
And I've talked about it to other people asking, like, that are maybe non-designers and kind of just like art admirers or whatever you want to call them, asking like, do you think that these people have to post every day? And they're just like, no, I thought you already posted every day. Or like, what do you mean? Like, they're like, they don't know. People see stuff. Even if you post once a week, like they're not going to unfollow you because you don't post every day, you know? So it's like, and then with TikTok, like I've had some reels be successful, and that's like probably a good like 40%, 50% of like the Instagram growth. But the TikTok stuff, I've tried to put them on there, and like that shit's just no good. Like you have to be on there like dancing and like making jokes and shit. That's the only way.
It's a different world. But that's the thing, like these new things come out and they're just like new ways to market yourself and new ways to do stuff. And like you were saying, your reels, like, you know, a lot of the growth has come from that. When we go back to what we were saying earlier, like, you know, when I first started my, you know, my account, my design account, it took me years to get, you know, 1,000, 2,000 followers. And then, you know, the other day, it's still taking me a lot of time. You know, I'm pushing 10K, but it's taking me ages, you know. I don't post enough. But I banged up a couple of reels the other, like, you know, a month ago. And like 1 or 2 reels and just like 2,000 followers in like a week or 2 weeks. Yeah, it's just like, that's all you needed to do. Like, then you'd be there posting, like working really hard on a bit of work, thinking that that's going to get you like, and it's just like a little 30-second TikTok, and that's all you need. Yeah.
And then you get to the point though where you're like, okay, it looks like I need to make reels or I need to make tutorials. And then at the end of the day, you look at all this stuff you're doing and you're like, what's the point of growing this if I'm not posting designs? Like, aren't I a designer? I don't want to just be like a content creator or whatever. So it's like, it's got a weird balance you have to try to live in.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like when, you start posting content and then you're like, am I actually a designer anymore? Am I like just a kind of creative content creator? Or like, you know, the way I'm going now is just like I'm posting like tutorials and stuff, but it's like, is that what I'm doing? Or like, am I actually a designer? Or like, what am I doing? What am I trying to do here? Yeah. I feel like everyone goes through that, don't they? Like everyone goes through just like constantly not knowing what they're doing, making it up as they go along.
Yeah, I'm looking at everyone online right now and I'm just like, what the fuck did everyone learn how to use Blender and shit like in a week?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm seeing so much. Yeah, 3D's banging at the moment. I feel like you need to learn a little bit of 3D. I haven't touched it in a long time. I used to like make games and stuff, like 3D games. I used Blender for a bit when I was at school, like a long time ago. Haven't touched it since then, so don't think I know how to use it now. But
it's so foreign to me, and like I've been looking at it like, I don't know. I've been saying it on here just as like how you said you need to make more videos. So hopefully I can start be more accountable. But I keep saying like, yeah, I'm gonna learn it. Yeah, I'm gonna learn it. But it's like you said, like about you neglect other things. I'm afraid if I get into 3D, like it's not like my 2D design skills are perfect yet. So I kind of almost want to just focus on that instead of like trying to get good at a little bit of everything. Because I heard this quote one time that I really liked. It says like, if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. You know?
Yeah.
So you try to spread yourself throughout everything. It's like, what are you at that point? Just like a low level multidisciplinary, like unless you're like a fucking beast and you can just like do everything really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
That's the thing. Like, it's hard when you're working in the industry these days as well. Like, you kind of find that you have to know a little bit. Especially if you're doing agency, you have to end up learning a little bit of everything really to get by. So you have to like touch into everything. But that's the same as what you're saying. Like I feel like I'm trying to do loads of things, but I'm not really mastering any of those one thing. So yeah, maybe it's time I start focusing down on one thing and trying to master something. But
that's what working. That's the one thing I think people can benefit from working. Because I've worked at an agency and I've also worked full-time just jobs where I'm the in-house designer for a company. And whether or not like that's glamorous or like how you feel about that, I talked about this too with Keezy, like from Black Market. He was saying once you go freelance and you're not working at those places anymore, no one's making you do things you don't want to do, and you're not working on things that make you uncomfortable, and you're not like working on things just because someone wants you to and you're like, fuck this. But that stuff sucks. But sometimes you finish it and you're just like, holy shit, I just learned how to do like, After Effects or whatever, just because my boss was yelling at me to make a Facebook ad or whatever. And you learn some stuff from that, even though it doesn't feel, beneficial or cool in the moment. Maybe you're just doing some corny like stuff for marketing. But I think at the end of the day, when someone's making you do something, it's a different, like you'll never be able to motivate yourself the same way as like by force, like someone else doing it.
Yeah. Like being somewhere, having a boss, like it does push you a lot further. I think even no matter how hard you work, like outside of work or whatever, having someone there that's sort of over your shoulder, you're never going to be like as on it. If you're working from home or whatever like that, you can kind of slack a little bit more. But like you were saying, it's about being outside your comfort zone. And like you were saying, like if it's your own work, you're not really going to put yourself in a position where you feel like you can't do something or it's a little bit outside your realm, whatever like that. But like, in an agency, you'll often get thrown into something and you kind of got to think on your feet and just sort of roll with it. And sometimes you've got to learn on the spot and you're just like, I can do that. And just like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but you just got to go with it. And I think because of that, you end up learning so much more and then it's a lot more valuable. So I definitely think like working in an agency or even in-house, I've worked in-house for my previous job, and there I learned so many things I wouldn't even think I would need or skills I would have, such as like, art directing a photo shoot and doing product shoots and things like that. And those like that stuff like scared me. When you've got these products and you're in a flat lay in a massive studio and you've got like everything's got to be organized and it's going on a magazine spread and you just start, and I'm like, I don't know if that suitcase goes next to those socks or but like you end up having to just do it. You just end up having to just go for it, and I wouldn't have ever done that probably if I wasn't kind of like, you have to do this. So you end up learning skills and growing. So it's about pushing yourself, isn't it? It's about getting outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, and like at my last job, the one I recently like left from, it's called Art of Sport. So I was doing a lot of that art directing. We'd be doing product shots. We'd be also doing like, I'd have like guys like taking a shower and shit and like putting the, like trying to get like the shit on their shampoo where it's all like that and whatnot. And, we're doing, I had to, since it's a startup, I had to wear a lot of hats, I was the brand designer, but there was days where I'd be working with vendors, like trying to get packaging and like going to the factory with the fucking Pantone thing, like looking at it. And why would I be doing that on a daily basis? It's like, and it kind of was a bummer sometimes, but at the same time I learned a lot. And I think that I see a lot of people and asking about what they should go to freelance or what, and I'm not like this veteran designer or anything, but even like those 2, 3, 4 years that I worked in internships and after college, you need to do that. I think no matter where it is, it's going to be almost impossible to just go straight into freelance unless you're like a pure artist and just build up this crazy, like, I don't know, like online presence or something, and you can just make money off commissions. You're going to need to learn some of the like fundamentals at a job, I think.
Yeah. Because I think even as well, like, I don't know, did you go to university and do, or is it called college? Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned more in my first year of my job than I did at 3 years at my uni. I mean, that's probably
sucks, but it's true.
That's probably just because I wasn't learning at uni. I was too busy going out partying. But
yeah,
even so, like the things in the courses, like when you're chucked in the deep end at a job, honestly, like maybe not my first job, but the second job, like less than a year out of uni. There I learned so much, and that was just down to the people around me, really. I guess if you're freelancing and people are, like, you're at home, you're not going to have those people around you necessarily that you're going to learn like little tips and tricks off. So I worked with a couple of designers there, and my art director was like probably the smartest person I've ever met in my life, and you just learned so much. And I feel like I grew so much more within that first year than I did all the 3 years or 5 years of studying. It's crazy. So I definitely recommend, if anyone's thinking about whether they should go straight into freelance or, should I go and work at an agency or work in-house somewhere, like definitely just do it as an experience. Even if you don't want to do it forever, or you don't, you can luckily go and freelance straight away. Like I just stick yourself in there for a little bit, and you'll probably learn something new they'll end up using when you go freelance. So
yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. And it's like you said, I don't know, college is weird, or university, whatever you want to call it. I always say I don't think I learned that much from the class, but I just learned a lot while I was there, whether it be like, I don't know, it motivated me to learn more stuff on my own. And I just learned a lot from like the other students and stuff, and just like being in a different city and like, I don't know, like there's a weird, cause I don't know about you, but I went like, it was like 8 hours away from where I lived before, which is not crazy, but enough to where like you're not going home that often. So yeah. There's something about that I think is very valuable that people don't like consider when they talk about how much college, especially in US, like how much it costs out here and stuff. And I'm definitely an advocate for like, you don't need it. I don't think that's true, but the people I met and the stuff I learned and like how I grew as like an actual person, I would have never had that living like at home still and just trying to do it on my own.
No, 100%. I mean, I agree. Like, you don't necessarily need to go to uni and study to really make it. You can learn yourself, whatever. But yeah, I went quite a distance away from where I lived. It was only like 6 hours. But in I swear in the States, like you got to fly places, whereas the UK, you can go the other side of the country in like 6 hours. Yeah. And you're like touching, So yeah, I was the bottom of the country, completely away from everything back home, and that experience makes you grow as a person. You learn a lot more there about yourself, about everything, about life, than you would from not going, and that builds you as a creative person. Just those life experiences that you have, the scenarios that you're in, and things like that is more beneficial than anything you can really do. So 100%, yeah. And uni's just, I loved uni. I'm very sad that it's now a long time ago. It was great.
Yeah, and it's funny to think, like, you always hear old people telling you, this is going to be like the most fun or whatever you have, and you're like, whatever, like dad or like whoever's telling you this, and then you look at it because they're there visiting or whatever, and you look back, and I've been graduated for like a few years now, and I'm just thinking like, damn, like that shit was cool, like my friends were awesome, like we had so much fun, like we just did like concerts, like all my friends were DJs, like going to raves, like, but then just waking up on like a Sunday all hungover, like designing on my shitty MacBook, like trying to come up with logos and shit. Like there was something like so disorganized and fucked up about it, but so like beautiful at the same time. Like it was way more, I didn't have any money, but I was like happier. It was weird.
Yeah. Oh, it was, no. It was great. I miss it a lot. My little brother, he's just started getting into design as well. my little brother Alfie, and he's just started his, he's learning to be a graphic designer now. He's just starting thinking, like, he's going through college, starting to think about uni, and very jealous that he gets to live all that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that you said, I've talked about this before, but it's crazy that you said it was like 6 hours, right, across the country. Because when I told you I moved 8 hours away, it was still California,
Yeah, that's mad. Yeah. Yeah, I live back home is like southeast of England. Well, no, east of England. And I went the whole way down south. Like, I was in a place called Portsmouth, like right by the sea. And yeah, bit of a distance, but I guess it's nothing compared to you. Like 6 hours is like, you're not even really leaving.
It's just
anywhere,
weird, like,
still.
And over there, you go to like different countries in the same amount of speed that it takes me to go through different states and things. And I always thought that was pretty wild. Did you, when did you start the City Soda Club? Was that in college or in university, or was that like later on?
That was after uni. I went through this weird transition stage after uni where I was just sort of like trying to find who I was as a designer, really, just like lost, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do a bit of everything, changing my profile, changing my name every 5 minutes, changing my style every 5 minutes. Just didn't really know who I was, what I was doing, and I feel like everyone goes through that. But I saved so much work, constantly saving, and I was like, one day I'm going to start a blog with just all my. So I used to have like a Tumblr and things like that, and I like sharing work and things like that. And I was like, one day I'm going to start it. And then it's really weird. Like, so my job before, we were working for a magazine, and sometimes they would, the guy I work with, Max, he would get asked to go to various places to do interviews and things like that. And he would often take me with him, and we'd go to various places. And to the times we went to like these private members clubs in London, and quite prestige, like weird ones, a little bit underground, like weird shaky hand gang. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like a whole. I've never been to anything like that, and it was just weird, very weird, and just kind of like odd. And it was just a whole experience of like this whole, like all these kind of rich and famous people knocking about. Like, I was sat down, and there was like Michael Caine was like sat next to us. And I was just like, I don't know what is going on here. This is so weird. But this whole idea of like private members clubs was just like, it was like amazing. Like I thought it was like so weird and interesting, but like really cool. And then I went to another place. There's these places in London which are like a private club for like, it's called Soho House, which is like for creative. It's kind of like for creative people to like hang out together. You got like pay a membership, and you can only get in if you know people and stuff like that. So I thought that was really interesting and weird as well. So I was kind of like, I want to kind of start my own club, like this private club that you can't really get in or whatever, but it's like not real. It's like a design club. Yeah. So that's where the idea of City Soda Club kind of came along. It was going to be like a sharing page, but it was also going to be like a community, a club that people could somehow join and go from there. So that's kind of where it really started. It started off as a page to share artwork, but with the idea of one day it being an actual physical club that people could be a part of. And yeah, that's sort of how the idea of that started. And it sort of just grew, really. It's just it's grew from there, and it's growing quite big. But I kind of want it to be more so than what it is now, like just a community of people, creatives to come together, and sort of a place where people, no matter how big or small you are, can kind of have a platform to like sort of grow and like put your work out there. And things like that. So we try and find like kind of smaller designers who haven't really got like a big following or things like that, and try and push them out, try and get some eyeballs in their work and stuff, and then just kind of form this community of people. But yeah, it's kind of funny, like when I first started it out, like people thought it got like a few thousand followers, and it was like 10k, 20k, and people thought it was a real club because I had it as like London, like club, private members club, like members only. And I was getting messages from people like, where's this club? How do I come? I had messages from like DJs like, I represent these artists, would love to play at your club and all this stuff. And I was like, shit, like maybe I've taken this a bit too far because it's not actually a real club. So
you should have just rented a warehouse or some shit and invited a bunch of designers and threw like a rave or something.
it's been spoken about. It might potentially happen at some point. Obviously, we were actually thinking about, me and some friends, like putting together like a physical event last year, but COVID. The problem was like COVID has kind of stopped the growth of what City Soda Club was going to be. It's just before COVID, like I was releasing a zine. I had plans to, like do a physical event with DJs and artists there. And they kind of just halted there really because of COVID. It wasn't going to happen. So
are you gonna plan on kind of rebooting some of the ideas you had now that things are looking like a little less grim around the world?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I haven't really like put as much into it as I would have liked since the start of COVID. Really, it has kind of like just slowed down of where it was sort of going and building into a sort of more of a brand and doing various things. But once COVID lifts, I guess then it's definitely going to get a bit more attention onto it. But since then, I've kind of focused on a few other things. So one day, when I'm not trying to do too many things, I could focus on that. And maybe that and YouTube, and that'd be the only things. But until then, it's just taking a little sidestep at the second, but it's going to come back. It's going to be big.
I could see it in my head, like you have the little logo you have on there, like just a bunch of dudes like with little rings with that logo or some shit, like sitting around like just fucking with a Wacom tablet or some shit, like just drinking whiskey or something.
No, it's going to happen. Like that is the whole, that's weird you say that about the little ring. I've like kind of looked into, the site's down at the moment, but I mean, I'm planning on this year launching it again at some point as being more of a brand that I think people can see. And the whole idea of what I wanted to do with City Soda Club was, we spend so much time online, there's so much digital, everything's digital. Like I wanted to create things that are a bit more physical in ways that people can actually interact with people in real life, or do things in real life rather than online. So one of the things I was looking at was getting rings with the little symbol on, because I was looking into, when designing the logo, it was like proper like Masonic symbols and all these weird little symbols, but they're all some of them are quite bad though, so I kind of didn't want to go on the references of those.
That'd be so dope though, to just have that, like, let's say you sell like an X amount of them for like not a crazy price, so it's like kind of accessible to everyone, maybe just like steel or something, and you're just like, it'd probably be more common around where you live, but you're just out somewhere and you see someone with that shit and you're just like, hey, there it is. What's the name though? Like I wanted to ask you about that, like the actual City Soda. What does that mean?
So a bit of a weird one. So soda was meant to stand for like, right, it's kind of a bit, I feel like, I don't know, like just hear me out, like Society of Designers and Artists. So it's going to be like this, the underground like society of like designers and artists, this like weird cult group, like weird group of people who kind of like, all in secret, but they're all kind of like all out in the open on City Soda Club. And it's just this club where all these creatives can be. But I was going with like a proper like looking into like the Masons and things like that. And then like the whole idea of it was from these private members clubs, like it's very exclusive, very like you have to know someone, you have to get invited, you have to be this, you have to be that. So the whole idea of this was kind of like a joke, like it's all like private members club, it's all like I was saying, like members only, private members, whatever, but it's accessible to everyone. It's not, it's accessible to all creatives. It's not something where you're going to be kept out if you're not a certain type of person, or you're starting this or that. So that was the kind of irony of it really that I was going to build upon. So
so it's like an acronym then, the soda.
That was like the initial idea for City Soda.
What kind of stuff, because I think you have, there's a ton of these pages I think nowadays, and especially like a lot more now people are doing like products and things, but like 2 years ago there were so many of these pages popping up, and I'm sure you've like talked with some of the people and things. I've always really liked the stuff that you put on there though, like it's curated obviously, and it feels a little maybe not now because it's shit's everywhere, but it felt a little different at the time, and like I liked that because you could go there and see things that all kind of felt like the same and like nice that go together, but they're also like drastically different in like typography and color, and a lot of analog print stuff looking things that I always thought was cool. And what kind of things do you look out for when you see people like tag you and use the tags? Like, is there something that you think about, like this would make a good City Soda Club thing?
I don't know really. Like a couple of people were like, people were often asked like, what do I do? Like, how can I get featured? What do I need to do to kind of get posted on there?
Yeah.
And it's not really about that. Like, you can't do like one thing. I guess it's like a complete curation of just what I am liking at the time, what I think people would like. And yeah, it can range. Like sometimes I feel like you can go through the feed and sometimes you can see when I'm like liking certain things, and then it's like the next 10 posts are like only black and white or something, because I've just gone through a weird monochrome phase where I'm just like, nah, black and white only.
Yeah.
And then like you go through and there's a bit more like digital 3D stuff because I've kind of decided that. But what it is really is just, I don't know, like I guess I like certain styles, like a very clean, minimal typography, but then the next minute it can be like some really weird, bold sort of photography with some like abstract type. Yeah. And I'll decide that that's what I want to post today. But I don't think there's any one thing that I look for particularly. But I do think a lot of it is sort of like very like clean, classic prints. Like minimal layouts and stuff like that. I think I'm kind of drawn to the most. I don't really post anything that's too like cyber over the top or anything that's too chaotic. Yeah. It's all quite clean, and I focus on a lot of mainly print based stuff rather than anything digital or 3D or anything like that.
Yeah, and does it like, is it pretty? I'm sure it's pretty hectic, like trying to like sift through that shit, right? Like all the. How do you even like manage it? Is it just kind of right place, right time if you happen to see something that you get tagged in?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've pretty much posted, like at one point I was posting like 2 times a day, once at lunch, once in the evening, like on the way home. I normally do it on my commute or when I've got a free 5 minutes. But yeah, sometimes it's right place, right time. I'll be scrolling through something, I'll be going back through someone's feed. Like I'm often like trying to search for a bit of work rather than it just sort of being there and sharing it. I'm sort of on the look for like, today I want to find something like, this isn't what I want to post today. This isn't what I want to post today. I like this, but I'm not feeling that today. I'll share it. I'll save it for maybe another day. I'm feeling that. And but the hashtag and the things are like, quite a lot of people didn't realize is tens and tens of thousands of people are using it, which is good. Yeah. So there's a lot of work to sift through and to look through. But a lot of it is right place, right time. But mainly it's just a good bit of work. I can scroll through like pages and pages and pages of work, and I don't even need to see, like I see the thumbnail of something and like that's good. That is really good. I like that. That's getting posted. I'll share that. Or I might find something I'll be like, I like that style, I like that, but this post, like I like the artwork, I like where it's going, but this isn't necessarily what I like. So I would go for the artist and go back through their work, and then
I see
sort of see something maybe like an earlier thing that they did and be like, actually no, I want to post this one. And hopefully people benefit from it as well, because I want to just kind of put people's work out there.
It must, I mean, it probably feels good, like, when people are hitting you up, like, oh my God, like, thank you. Like, I just got X amount of followers, or I got all these likes from that. And like, that's cool. 'Cause not a lot of people have that, like that specific type of page where like, it's the exact target market that you want to be shared on. You can get shout outs from people with 1 million followers, but if it's like a food page, it doesn't matter. Exactly. your 60K or whatever is like so hyper, like focused into the niche that it's like the perfect place for someone to get shared on,
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that I was that, like, still am that person. Like I was that. Yeah. A couple of years ago, that's kind of another reason why I wanted to start it, is because I was working every day. I've taken everything off my page now, but there was a day when a time when I was like trying to do daily, like trying to get posters up, trying to get graphics up. And like, when a page, there was like the design blacklist and things like that. When someone would like it or share it or whatever, I thought that was the best thing ever. I thought that was, so I've made it. Oh my God, this is amazing. This is it. It's going to change, like, because I've got like, 100,000 followers. For some reason, I just feel like, oh, if they share it, that's it. I've made it. Like, something's going to come of this. It's going to be, this is it. This is my time. But then nothing would, get a few followers and then nothing else happens. It's like that chase for those endorphins.
Right.
And then the next post you put up won't get that. And then you're like, what am I doing? So that's why I kind of wanted to create it. I was like, you know what, like I want to create my own page where I share what I want and just grow it myself.
Yeah.
That's how it started.
What kind of stuff, like, because like you said, you've kind of stripped back, you know, your page, like it's very to the point, and like you can kind of see everything that's on there in like one kind of little look at it, and you have mostly the tutorial stuff and like a couple other things like using some assets that from your videos and things. How would you though describe like the style of things that you like to create like on your own, like if you were to be posting more often again? Like is it similar to the stuff you put on like your Soda Club page? Like are you into that, like type things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's weird because I go on my page. I got hundreds of posts, or like loads of posts from over the years, and just I go through weird phases. Like we were speaking at the start of the podcast, like about the whole perfectionist thing. I'll go through a weird phase, and then I'll be like, don't like any of this. I'll just take it all off. Like I'm starting again. I've done that like 4 or 5 times since having my account. Just deleted every bit of work that I've spent however many hours on. Just like that, it's gone. This is gone now. I don't like this anymore, and just wiped it. So now every time I go on my page, I don't think I ever get to more than like 15 posts before I just have like another sort of breakdown and just like, nah, it's starting again. Get rid of it all.
Do you archive it or delete it all the way?
I archive it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll show you a little time. I'll give you a little screen record, and I show you through the years, and you can see all the different things that I've gone through. But yeah, no, the thing is as well, like a lot of my work, like I do a lot of freelance, but it's not really stuff that I'd post on there. Like I do, not everything that you do freelance is really portfolio worthy, or it's not for a portfolio. You know, if I'm working for a client, it's like I'm meeting their needs. Obviously, I've got to do it to the best of my ability, but it might not be something that fits in with the aesthetic that I sort of put across as my own brand. So, and that's the same with work. Like I don't
feel that.
This is probably 1% of my work goes on my Instagram, or not even that. Like everything I do at work or freelance, like nothing goes on there. So I actually rarely post on there any work that I've ever done, really. It's quite bad, really. I should really be doing that soon, as that's kind of like,
I think there's 2 sides of it, you know, and there's people like what you're saying, and then there's people that are like, it just looks like their fucking desktop at some point, you know, like everything's on there. And I don't know how I feel about it. I went through phases. I've done the archiving thing, but I think it was justified because it was like proper bad like shit when I was in college. But you know, I spoke to this one like art director one time, and he said something along the lines of like only ever post like 30% of like what you have. Like you don't want to have everything out there. And I was just like, for a while I was like, yeah, like don't like, I don't know, like just only post like the perfect stuff. But then you hear all this other stuff about how you got to be out there, like you just post whatever. And then I started doing that, and then I was like, some of these like are genuinely not that good, and I'm just posting for the sake of it. And then you got to try to find like a weird, you know, in between ground where, I don't know, you're creating content and good design, but you're also not like just throwing up like bullshit, you know, because at the end of the day, someone can look at that and I don't know, it could maybe put them off or something if you're trying to get clients or whatever. Yeah,
it's a difficult one, really, because it's like that whole idea of posting every day. You feel like if you don't post something, then you're gonna like fall behind. And I really struggled with that for ages, where I just felt like I was not going to be, like, if I'm not spending my evening every night making something and posting it, then I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. I really had to kind of fight my way. And then I found out not everything that I did was just then like forced in the, you know, in a matter of hours in the evening, and it just wasn't, it wasn't good. So you have to go through that process where you're like, it's not about, you know, what is it? It's not about, it's about quality, not quantity. So I've kind of gone the other way now though, and just don't post any content.
It feels good sometimes, you know, it's like, I talked about it on the last podcast. Have you seen that movie Soul? Like the Pixar movie?
Yeah, I have.
So it's all like I don't know, whatever. Like I won't spoil the plot, but one of the kind of meanings is like, at the end of the day, like do what you love for the sake of doing it, right? Not because for fame or whatever. And you know, there's something like kind of nice about just designing something and like for fun or for whatever, like a friend or a client, and you finish it and you give it to them, or you print it out for yourself, or you put it in a folder, and then that's it. You know, you're just like,
yeah,
that shit's dope. And like, maybe it's not like the vibe for your Twitter or your Instagram or whatever, but that doesn't mean that like it's a waste of time or anything. Like everything doesn't have to be a post, you know, and it's okay. Someone's not gonna forget you exist because you didn't post a new black background poster every day, you know?
Absolutely. I feel like that's what people need to know. It's okay. Like you don't have to like feel like you have to be there at every moment in time. Like you can just focus on working normally, building yourself as a creative, building yourself as a designer, like day-to-day work. It's weird because like sometimes I almost feel like my full-time job, which I do, pays me whatever, that's my side thing, and my full-time, the only thing that matters is getting a post on Instagram. That is the thing. That's just how I kind of live my life until to allow me to post online. But it can't be about that, and it took me a while to sort of get out of that rhythm of feeling like that. No, that's the only thing that matters, because it's definitely not.
What would we be doing, if that stuff didn't? What if Facebook could just like, what if Facebook is like, they just stop, right? So there's no Instagram, and then let's say Twitter too, like it doesn't really exist. What would we all be doing? Like we'd just be designing, for clients or for fun, right? And just kind of, I don't know, maybe selling prints like at the fucking Starbucks or whatever, or like at a coffee shop or something. Like,
down on the corner, just like prints out on the pavement, like who wants to buy one? I know, that's the thing. But I don't know.
It's weird. It's weird because like the internet is so cool, and it's made us, we wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't know all these people that I've been able to talk to, but at the same time, it's kind of diluted, like, some of the craft or whatever you want to call it. And it's made it's the best part about that is it's made it accessible. There's these people in like, third world countries and shit that are getting like money from just shit online. That's like pretty much what people get there in like a year. And like, that's awesome. Like people are making a living out of it. But then the bad side is you have all these young kids that feel insecure because like they think that people are fucking putting out badass work every day, and they're just sitting there like, oh my God, like I'm just still trying to learn the programs and things. So it's kind of a weird thing.
It's like when you see like all these people on YouTube who are like, they're 14, multi-millionaire, he's got a Porsche, can't drive, like, but just still owns one. Like that's how I feel when I see people posting daily. I'm like, wow, like how am I like so much older or whatever? And it's like, this person's got all this more following and doing this and doing that, and they're posting daily. How come I can't do that? Why am I not living up to this? But it's a trap. Like you need to enjoy your life and not think about it too much. If you don't post for a day, like I used to think if you didn't post for a day, like I thought it was like the end of the world. Like I thought, but no one even notices. Like you were saying earlier, like no one notices. So yeah.
And it's it's hard because at the end of the day, like it really doesn't matter, and we're all going to be fine. And you don't want to get discouraged. Like the reason you should be doing this stuff and like building a community in the first place is it should be a positive thing. Like social media shouldn't be making your life worse. And talking to you and talking to all these other like people that I think are, like some of these people I've talked to are like legends in my eyes in terms of like this little community, and they say the same shit. So it's like, if they think this too, then maybe we're not all like fucked, we all have these like weird insecurities and things. It's not like you don't just, it's nice to know that you don't ever get out of that, but it's also kind of like, shit, I guess this is forever,
Yeah. Everyone will have it for the same thing. It doesn't matter how big or small you are, you'll have the same sort of like dread and looking at someone else and thinking like, this is what I should be doing, and if I achieve this, then I'll be happy. If I achieve this is good. But it's all a ruse. And no one knows what they're doing. Like that's one thing that you like from what we were saying earlier, like how much you learn at uni and learn after that. Like I've been out of uni now like 4 years, I think. I'm in the industry. I'm working my way. I still have I don't know what's going on half the time. I don't know what's happening. I don't have. Everyone's like, oh, you got your shit together. I don't. Like, no one literally does, and no one ever does. I don't think. Like people in 10 years' time, like they might look like they're knowing everything. They're good. They don't know what's going on half the time. So yeah. It's
It's
all
funny.
a lie.
It's all perception. Like I've had people say like, "Oh man, you talked to Draplin, like you made it, like you working on like a project with him." I'm like, "Fuck no!" Like dude, the whole time I was talking to him, I was nervous, and all I did was email him, and he happened to just, it must have been a good day or something, and he was like, "Sure." And I got him into Discord. He was all making fun of like Discord. He's like, "Is this some gamer shit? Like, what the fuck is this?" Like, kind
Yeah,
of just.
that is sick though.
It's just funny because you look at that, and I've looked at other people. Like I can look at your city soda club page and be like, damn, Louis made it. He's probably making bank off that page. But then it's just like a weird little curation thing that at the end of the day, it's just like a, fancy mood board or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's what in my head. That's what I think of it. And then people also think like, it's got all these followers. Like, you must be doing well. Like, I've not made a single penny out of City Soda Club. All the money that we made before went all to charity, and never taken a penny, never made a penny.
Yeah,
it's all gone back into design. Like the money that we did, I made some zines last year, sold a load of them. All that money went
back into the game.
Back in, yeah. Like no pennies have been taken from that. So. Yeah, it's there just for the community vibes. It's not there to make a load of money or anything like that. But
so one more thing I wanted to ask you, and also if you want to hear a little bit more after this, you can go over to the Patreon for the Q&A. Cheeky little plug. But for the sake of this normal part, I wanted to ask you, because we were talking about some of these everyone kind of goes through this, big or small designers. Who are some of the designers that you look up to, or you were looking up to a lot when you were starting out and curating things and whatnot?
Design wise, I'm going to butcher the name, even though I've spoken to him a load of times, but like Obi and Japari.
Yeah, they're so good.
That. Yeah, I managed to interview them for the zine and chat to them. They're just sick. There's so many people, like people you've had on here, like Aaron Draplin, like obviously like uni, like he was just like the guy. There's loads of like small, well, they're not small anymore, like studios. Like there's a studio that I think they went to my uni, quite a few years older, called I Love Dust. I definitely checked them out. They do a lot of 3D stuff, and they kind of work exclusively for Nike now. But yeah, like Harry Vincent, people like that. I can't remember this guy's name actually. I wrote it down earlier because I knew I was gonna ask the question. This guy called Brandon Nickerson. He's like a New York designer. He does like a load of type stuff and logo stuff. He's really sick. And then there's an artist like they go by the name of Appear Offline. I don't know if you've ever seen any of that stuff.
I haven't.
Quality, like really interesting type stuff. But this is the thing as well. Like, I feel like a lot of my influences come from just like the most random, or like inspirations come from random people across the world. Not necessarily any one designer or one big person. It would just be like one day it's this
that one poster or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, these people are sick. The way they're working with type, or one day it might be like, oh, this person's motion design is sick, and so they're the big people that influence me, I think. But other than that, that's another reason why I did the City Soda Club. It's just like I wanted to surround myself with quality designers, and everyone that's on there is just insane. So,
hell yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's good. I'm glad you did that, and your shit's cool, and I'm really excited to see more stuff on the page, and I'm also really excited to see you posting more on YouTube. Maybe we'll kick you into gear a little bit, hold you accountable.
Please do.
You said it live, But,
big time.
Yeah, but if you guys want to hear a little bit more, we're going to do a Q&A, like I said, with Louis. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, rate on everything. And is there anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
Me? No, go and follow my YouTube, subscribe, go and abuse me in the comments and tell me to post more. And everyone go and follow, City Soda Club if you're not already. And just go check out the work. Go and check out some designers on there, and go and show them support if you like their work. That's it really. And obviously go and follow you. Go and check out Permanent Glue on Instagram.
Appreciate it.
Many thanks
for coming on, man.
Thanks really for having me. I'm honoured. I've had some sick people in here, so I'm honoured to be one of those people.
I will add them to the list. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.